What is up, guys? Hope everybody is doing well. I am obsessed with diet and I'm obsessed with nutrition in a good way, that I feel like I'm really dialed in to whatever I'm doing. But that can also become a little bit toxic in the sense of I read a lot of studies, follow a lot of data, and play around and experiment with myself when it comes to dieting and trying different ways of eating. So since 2019, I've done vegan, keto, intermittent fasting, modified carnivore. And then before that, I was kind of like your traditional, if it fits your macros, bro kind of diet. I am now back on an if it fits your macros, bro kind of diet, because I personally feel that works best for me. What I've seen from all these diets where I cut out a macronutrient, or I cut out meat, or I abstain from eating for however long, what I found is, personally, and this is purely, of course, anecdotal, that I start to see some negative side effects. So, for instance, veganism, my iron dropped in the tank, chronic migraines, acne. And with that, I will say on the back of that, the positives. When I was vegan, my eczema disappeared. But on the flip side, my iron was in the tank, chronic acne, which I never have, and chronic headaches, which I never have, and probably a bunch of mineral and vitamin deficiencies, although supplementing the hell out of that diet. And then keto felt great from a cognitive standpoint, felt great from like an energy, once becoming fat adapted, being able to run on my fat stores. I will say, I think there's probably some confusion between energy and stress. Obviously, when you have no glucose, when you have no carbohydrates in the body, I believe that it causes a stressful environment for the body. Some people think that's good, and you kind of use that in kind of a hormetic state. I don't think it's good long term. On the bad side of keto, electrolyte issues, cramping, not great sleep, eczema, worse. So again, pros and cons of doing that. And then carnivore or animal-based, having issues with consuming too much fruit on animal-based, issues with carnivore just in terms of, I'm someone who likes to eat. My wife's a chef, I'm really into nutrition. Like our life is kind of all about food. Normally very, very healthy food, but I like to eat. And if you're like, you know what, carnivore is going to fix all your problems, or if you don't do carnivore, you might have eczema for forever, then I'd probably take that. To be fair, I'd probably take the eczema and just try and manage it as much as possible. Because I know there's certain things that flare me out, like dark chocolate, nuts, high-fat diets, high-fat meats, dairy, those things from trial and error. And what I will say, the reason why I do kind of flip around with these diets is, one, I'm trying to figure out kind of what works best for me, and I think that takes time. You have to give each diet its due course, but it's always kind of fueled with my eczema. What's going to heal my skin, what's going to make my skin better. And you'll find a lot of people, eczema is not curable. It's never, like a lot of dermatologists say, you're never going to cure it. On a vegan diet, it pretty much disappeared. Not completely, but like to the most it has in a while. If I was going to guess, probably because of a healthy, robust gut with a different amount of bacteria, being able to handle different foods, and just having bacteria in my system which can strengthen my gut. So any food that would often trigger it, I had the bacteria to help digest that and utilize it. Problem is, when you go on a reductionist diet, like it's like keto or carnivore, you're losing that bacteria. So if you incorporate some bread or whatever, you don't have the bacteria, it's going to break that down, so it's going to cause a reaction. But long story short, I believe, for me, the best diet is, and it sounds like so cliche and so like nutrition pyramid triangle, 8 whole grains a day diet, but it's not that. But I believe the best diet for me is a balanced diet, and it's took me going through multiple different diets throughout the years to figure that out, which I'm not upset about. Like, I would have always gone down the keto route, I'd have always gone down the fasting route, and I can use those levers when there's sometimes when I feel great on keto. And problem is, we can get dogmatic, and we can get to a point where, like, this is me for life now, I'm following this diet for life, and all the people on Instagram you follow do that diet, and you feel part of a tribe. And I've been in that space before as well. Like, you feel like you're cheating if you do something outside of the realm, because you found common space and you found this tribe who all eat the same way. And because we are tribal animals as human beings, it's a good feeling. But ideally, we're all bio individuals. We all have a different, I know people who thrive on different diets that would absolutely destroy me, and vice versa. So where I'm at now is just eating a balanced diet, even like occasionally tracking macros. I think that can become obsessive, and I do have an obsessive tendency. So I'm very much kind of relaxed tracking food. I just like to kind of know where I'm at in terms of hitting protein, doing that. I don't think the science is bang on in tracking macros. I think it's very loose in the fact that you think that you can put your food into MyFitnessPal or Chronometer and you can understand what's going on inside the body. But again, if you like to log that like a diary, that's also fine. I do it occasionally just to kind of know where I'm at. If I'm feeling hungry, kind of find out where my calories are, kind of find out if I've overeaten, undereaten for the day. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and I've kind of gone through all these phases. Oh yeah, like the pro-metabolic way of eating too. I dabbled in that. That was probably like the last diet I did before I came back. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go back to a flexible way of eating and enjoying food and not over-obsessing about it. And people say tracking calories is obsessive. I found all the other ways of eating, keto, carnivore, pro-metabolic, vegan, even more obsessive than that. And like intuitive eating is probably where I find myself now. Intuitive eating / tracking macros occasionally. I don't even know what my macros would be, but just kind of using it as a diary, not sticking to a set numbers, because the human body is way more complex than that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It'd be interesting if anyone watches this, if kind of you've been through your own dietary struggles in life, or you've been kind of through going to Instagram and seeing all these diet gurus and all these nutritionists who advise this, say this is poison, say this is this. That, like, it can be a lot, and it can be consuming. And I think once you come out the back end of that, the advice that I would give someone might not be the correct advice, but the advice that I found that's helped me is, if you shut all of that noise off, stop listening to these experts, you can be your own expert and listen to what works for you. And I'll leave the video on that.